We begin with our ongoing coverage of arrests of protesters at Columbia University in New York. Just in the past few hours, police have entered the campus and arrested a number of students who've been occupying a historic hall after they barricaded themselves inside. Well, earlier, the university said it's begun suspending students who refuse to meet a deadline to abandon their encampment. The university said it requested the police to enter the campus in order to restore safety and order to our community.
Hamilton Hall is now secure. There's no one else left in the building. The quad is now empty. The only thing that's left is the tents and their property, and that will all be cleared out by the school.
Well, Teresa has been live for us just outside Columbia University in New York, where you actually watched the police, Teresa, entering Hamilton Hall. What's the situation there now? Are they still inside? Have the students been arrested?
Well, we're right here outside Columbia University, right across Hamilton Hall. Let me tell you that we saw hundreds of police officers come through this avenue from both sides, coming right here in front of the gate and entering the building that you can see right behind me. Around 50 police officers enter the building through that window. And it's not clear yet what happened there, but what we do know is that we saw two buses carrying students out from where we are right now. The police is saying that at least 50 people have been detained. They have been taken to a police station. It seems now that the operation is now over. But what we do know is that the president of Columbia University has asked the police to remain in place at least for several days, mostly to make sure that the encampment does not happen again. For what we're hearing, we have not been able to enter Columbia University, but apparently the tents that were set inside the campus, right in the middle of the campus, have been removed. Many of the students that were inside, not only in Hamilton Hall, that's where the students on Monday night, that's the place where they entered the Hamilton Hall. They renamed it after a 6-year-old girl from Gaza that was killed by the Israeli military. They barricaded themselves there. And what we do know is that the students inside Hamilton Hall, but also those who were in other parts of the campus, were detained, taken to a police station. It seems now that the operation is over. However, when you talk to many of the students that were here just until a few minutes ago, they're saying that they will continue, that arrests have been made in the past, but back in April 17th and 18th, at least 100 students were detained. Many of them were suspended, and that this protest continue. Let me tell you that whatever happened next year in Columbia University, this is the place that inspired a movement across the country, where thousands of people started to take to their campuses, to their universities, to demand an end to the war on Gaza, to demand an end to Israeli occupation. So the people we have spoken to here, that were here on this evening, what they're telling us is that no matter what happens next, the students of Columbia University have already made history.
And Teresa, what about the protests that have been happening outside the campus? Because we know that there were plenty of people who were also protesting in New York City in support of the students.
Well, it's been a very confusing night. We've been here all day, and there were students protesting outside of the gate. They showed up here to show support to the students who were inside of the university. Let's not forget that once the students barricaded themselves inside Hamilton Hall, there was a complete lockdown of the university. The only people that were allowed inside were the essential staff and also some of the students that were living inside the campus. But many of those who were outside were not allowed to go back in. In fact, they were helping those inside to resist. They were bringing food and water and other items. We also saw when we were right here about 200 to 300 people marching around the campus towards different locations. It's not clear yet what happened to them. We do know that they went to another college that's about two kilometers away from where we are and tried to enter another college. They were not allowed to do so by the police. We're hearing that there's some small protests by the students, but we cannot confirm that another big protest is ongoing. Many of the students we have spoken to are still in shock. They're extremely concerned about what happened to them. They're concerned that many students who were protesting right outside the gate here in Columbia University were arrested just for standing in front of a gate. They were not doing anything violent, and they were taken by the police. So many of the students we have spoken to are still a bit in shock. They're sad about what is going on, but they're saying that they will continue. They're saying that this is not over. They're saying that they will continue to shed light on what is happening in Gaza. They will continue to shed light to the killing, to the displacement, to the hunger that is happening in Gaza right now.
OK, Teresa, many thanks indeed for your reporting throughout the night on the extraordinary situation, the crackdown there on protesters at Columbia University in New York. Let's speak now to Cameron Jones. He's the lead organizer at Columbia's Jewish Voice for Peace and a sophomore student, and joins us also from the university. Cameron, we know now that police are saying that the operation in Hamilton Hall and on campus is over. A number of students have been arrested. What do you know about what's happening around you?
Yeah, so I am still barricaded inside next door building to Hamilton Hall, and it is just really, stress is really high, and it's just really disheartening to see our students and friends get taken away by the police violently. And we have footage of students being violently pushed downstairs and then being arrested. So I think tensions are really high.
So we're hearing that the encampment as well, the tents that had cropped up on university campus, have also been cleared, and the university has asked police to stay on site until May the 17th. That's after the graduation ceremonies, once the university goes into summer recess. What do you think is going to happen to the protests from here?
So, yeah, I think we have seen the university try again and again to silence pro-Palestine voices on campus. And every time they try to silence us, we only get louder. We only bring larger numbers to our rallies, larger numbers to our protests. So I am certain that you will see a large blowback from the student body, from faculty, from alumni in the coming weeks. We will not stand for this violent police brutality on our campus, and we will stand up for what we believe in.
But what do arrests and suspension from universities mean for students, and does it not intimidate them?
I would say students are very intimidating, but it is nothing compared to what Palestinians are facing in Gaza every day. And we recognize the privilege that we have, and we recognize that we have to put our lives at risk so we can protect individuals in Gaza, in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem.
Cameron, just stay with us for a moment. I'm just going to bring our viewers the statement that Columbia University has issued explaining its decision to call in the police. It said that protesters escalated the situation by barricading themselves in the hall, that's Hamilton Hall, with the administration accusing them of forcing security guards out of the building and threatening members of staff. Now, Columbia officials said that they will not risk the safety of the university or further escalation. Cameron, that was the university administrators' reasons for bringing in the police tonight. What's your response to it? Did you see students threatening staff? Was there a breakdown in order? Were there threats to security on campus?
Yeah, so my response to that is that I have not heard any threats against staff or public safety. And the occupation of Hamilton Hall, which has now been renamed Hind Hall, was nothing but peaceful. No one was harmed, and there was no violence of any sort. The only violence we have seen now is by the NYPD being brought in to violently arrest peaceful protesters.
Cameron, in response to all of this, what are students asking for of the university? Are there calls for the administrators or indeed the President Shafiq, to step down over this?
Oh, yeah, completely. There is large support for Manu Shafiq to resign, for Laura Rosenberry to resign, who's the president of Barnard, and for a whole investigation of everything that has happened in the past few weeks to be done.
OK, Cameron Jones, many thanks indeed for joining us throughout the night to bring us the view from where you are. You are barricaded, remain barricaded inside a building on campus. We hope to check back in with you in the coming hours. Let's go now to our other correspondent, Kristen Saloomey, who is also just outside Columbia University. She's across the campus from where Teresa was reporting earlier. Kristen, first of all, it's looking pretty quiet where you are. Can you describe the scene as you see it there?
Yeah, really just a big police presence here still. We saw them take the drone that they had over the campus and bring that back and put it into the van. It seems like things are winding down here a bit. The demonstrators that were here earlier moved downtown. They are marching towards Police Plaza, where all of those who have been arrested are being taken to be processed. And as we just heard, about at least 50 students, some are saying 100, but the official word, I believe, is 50 students that have been arrested. And while we were here on this side of the campus, we saw police escorting some students off. And the students were very shaken, were avoiding media, didn't want to talk, some of them. But I pulled one young man aside, and he told me what happened. And he said that while the police came on, he was standing in front of Hamilton Hall, now Hind Hall, and the police came, and he said that there was no warning, there was no call to leave or face arrest. He said that some people were pushed down, violently pushed down and grabbed and dragged. Some people were arrested, again, without warning. There was no reading of rights or explanation, according to this one protester, and that police got behind him and forced him, basically, that he and other demonstrators were surrounded and corralled and pushed to make their way off campus, but not arrested. So while we know that at least 50 people have gone downtown to be arrested, that there were several dozens, if not hundreds more on campus. We don't have an exact number, but there were others on campus who were not arrested that were taking part in the demonstration and were, violently escorted off the campus.
Kristen, many thanks indeed for bringing us the view from where you are, just outside Columbia University. Just to remind viewers that it's a couple of hours since New York police entered Columbia campus. Around 50 of them entered Hamilton Hall, where a number of students had been held up since Monday night. According to our correspondents, the latest figure is around 50 students were arrested. They were taken away on 2 buses to Police Plaza in New York, where they will be processed. Also, other encampments on the university, we understand, have been cleared. But we've been hearing from students that this is not the end of their protests, that they are not going to be intimidated by the crackdown, which has reached extraordinary levels there in Columbia University this night in New York.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.